Are you ready to increase revenue using a new AI platform? What's up, blue collar business owner? Welcome back to the Blue Collar Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Masker, where we focus on helping guide you to have a prosperous business. Today, we have with us Quinn Litherland. Quinn is the founder and CEO of Revin. Revin is the revenue co-pilot for service businesses to automate your call center and marketing efforts. That is what Quinn Litherland is here to talk to us about today. Quinn, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. What is happening in New York?
Hey, Paul. Yeah, good to be here. It's a beautiful day here in New York. Spring is right around the corner, so I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you here. Obviously, AI has really kind of taken the home services and the trades world by
Big time.
storm in the last 18 to 24 months. So for the listeners that don't know what Revin is and don't know Quinn, give them a little insight into how your journey got started and how you got to where you are today.
Totally. So my journey is kind of all over the place. So I grew up in Vancouver, Canada. Thankfully, I ran in circles quickly enough that I got a track and field scholarship to go to school and run Div 1 in Boston. I ran for Northeastern. And from there, I fell in love with the tech ecosystem in Boston. I thankfully worked for a tech company in Vancouver growing up that went public in 2017. And then in Boston, got to work for some amazing companies that both got bought out, one to a private company and then one to private equity. And from there, I was hooked. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. My entire family is entrepreneurs. And I just knew that was the path for me. And so coming out of school, I knew I wanted to build. I knew I wanted to work in technology. I saw this AI wave kind of happening right before my eyes. And after bouncing around for a while, tinkering for a while, yeah, we landed on Revin. And really, our thesis is we think we're going to see you're going to see a 10, 15, $20 million home services business run by two people and a team of technicians without all the front and back office workflows that really increase that cost and burden for these entrepreneurs. And so for us, our number one focus is how do we increase your revenue and decrease your costs? And we do that by implementing customized agentic workflows, just a fancy word for saying AI agents into your business. Everything from on your marketing side, doing outbound marketing to capturing all your lead flow to your affiliate channels, to your form fills, adding an automated chat widget to your website that's SMS driven. And then going all the way through to, again, I know this is a finance focused podcast, going after your unpaid accounts payable or going after your unsold bids and unsold estimates, which is like some of the numbers we hear, especially on the roofing side. We met a team a couple of weeks ago. They had a $50 million lead list of unsold bids and unsold estimates that they were just staring at. They didn't have any automation to go after. So for us, our number one focus is bringing automation to the table, helping entrepreneurs that use service across home services to grow their revenue and decrease their costs. And there's no better time to do that in this new world that we live in with AI really at your fingertips.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for the context of what you do, why you do it, how it happens. I mean, to be able to run the vision of running a 10 to $20 million home service company with just a few people and AI agents and things like what Revin does is impressive. So let's start to dive into that, Quinn.
Yep.
Obviously, a big part of what you do, and you mentioned, is SMS, text messaging. A lot of that is so important, but as we know, a lot of home service businesses, especially, if their founder started the company 20 years ago, they might not have a text messaging platform. They don't
Yeah.
believe in it. They don't know how to do it. Why is it so important? And what are just some of the results you see when you start to bring this into companies in the trades?
Yeah. It's a great question. And there's a few things I want to touch on. So number one, SMS in my eyes, of course I'm biased, but SMS is the future of how home service businesses are going to communicate with their end consumer. Again, the consumer sentiment is changing. 80% of consumers today prefer to SMS communicate, so just text message with a services business, than get on the phone, which is nuts. I mean, you didn't see that 5, 10, 15 years ago. And so as you've started to see the success rates of your call center, and especially people just getting on the phone, start to change, right? Folks just don't like getting on the phone anymore. They prefer a more seamless experience and channel, which is SMS. And the beautiful thing about SMS is you can essentially engage with their customers throughout their life. It's really hard if I'm sitting at home with my family. It's really hard for me to get on a phone call at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock to communicate with you, especially if I'm working a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6, where I might not be able to get on the phone. But if you're sending me a text message or giving me the ability to send you a text message and get scheduled, and especially if I can get scheduled immediately and I'm not waiting for a response on that text message until 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. the next morning when your call center opens, that's where the magic starts to happen, because you're A, meeting your customers where they are, B, you're giving them a speedy experience. And again, every listener right now, there's one thing you take away from this conversation is you have less than 15 seconds to convert a lead. It's the prevailing sentiment I know has been 2 to 5 minutes. That is not true. It's honestly closer to 10 seconds today. This space is so busy. There's so much money going around with private equity pouring billions into this space. You have less than 10 seconds to jump on those opportunities, or somebody else will. And that's where automation comes in. And Paul, to your comment around somebody who's been running a business for 20 years, and I get it. It's scary to implement new tools. And what we usually like to tell anyone we get on a call with is, like, don't rush into it. Take your time, do a bunch of demos. And if there's the second thing I would say from this conversation is, you don't have to jump into it. Just go take some demos. Just see what these tools are able to do, and just get a feel for how some of your competitors are leveraging SMS communication and SMS automation to scale their business. And at the end of the day, you don't have to fundamentally change your business overnight, but it's something of maybe set that 2025 goal of, we're going to unlock a new communication channel. And that could be as simple as we're going to add a chat widget to our website to capture customers who might prefer to SMS communicate with us than get on the phone. But really, my push is just take that first small step of just understanding what's out there. And once you get a better feel for these tools, you're then going to be able to figure out what works for your business. Because again, automation might not work for everyone. I think that there's a place for automation in every business, but it is at the end of the day up to the entrepreneur for what works for them and for their customers. But the value that we see is customers respond to SMS almost better than the cold calls or they do respond better than the cold calls you're going to see. But the real beauty is your customer is able to engage and respond and then book with you at any time of the day, just because getting on a phone call can be very cumbersome at different phases of your day and your day-to-day life. And so, yeah, just to wrap this up, SMS is the future. Get on SMS if you can, and just start taking some demos. There's so many cool tools out there. So just start seeing what is out there and figuring out how you can potentially improve your business this year.
Love it. And with what you guys do at Revin, most of this SMS is done, the response from the company side is all done by AI. Is that right?
So that is our goal, right? That's our vision. That's where we're going to. Right now, our number one vision or our number one focus is building automation around your call center team. So around that CSR or administrator. And so again, we're not coming in and saying, get rid of your entire team. We think that there should always be one or two folks in that call center making sure that everything is moving smoothly. However, now with Revin, that 1 to 2 person team can feel like 20. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to come to these businesses and say, listen, you can grow without having to increase your costs. And so what we do is we're building all these workflows around that CSR. So when that CSR starts their day, it's not just, again, making 80 to 150 cold calls per day. Like, a human being isn't meant to be doing that. It's instead letting Revin take all of that initial workflow. Revin is your initial line of defense across all these agents that are doing everything from, like I said earlier, your outbound marketing, all the way down to trying to close unsold estimates, going after canceled calls, going after unbooked calls, going after rehashing for customers that you haven't worked with yet, or going after trying to increase lifetime value of customers that you have worked with, you have that built trust, but you just don't have time to go and do a larger marketing campaign to customers you may have worked with 12 to 18 months ago. And so it's letting the automation layer take that first line of defense. And then that 1 to 2 person team is just focusing on highest leverage. And that's the second thing that we always talk about with our customers. It's just, how do you leverage your time? Regardless if you're a 3-person team or some of our customers are a 300 to 400 person teams, how do you leverage your time so you are getting 2 to 3x more out of each employee? And the best way to do that is with automation. So the only times you're speaking with end consumers is when you absolutely have to be in that conversation. But if it's something as just booking, again, that scheduling process, again, we integrate deeply with the vast majority of CRMs and FSMs out there. We do it every single day. We can very easily communicate with an end customer, do the proper job type matching, check capacity, and then add that job to your job board. And if you even want us to, we can then match the appropriate technician to that. And so let automation do that simple work, and then your team can go and work on higher leverage initiatives just so you can get more bang for your buck for every dollar that is being spent on your business. So, Paul, at the end of the day, it's just leverage.
Yeah, and I kind of going back to your initial kind of recommendation of just start testing things out. I mean, there's
Yeah.
more AI options out there every single day. It seems like it's growing exponentially.
Yeah.
And I feel for a lot of business owners, they don't get into it because it is just too overwhelming. It's like, I don't even know where to start. So, out of all the things that, I mean, you just mentioned that Revin does. Revin's not only doing SMS and it's following up with unsold estimates, following up with customers who haven't used you in 6 months, doing all that stuff. And then they're also taking inbound calls. They can do outbound calls, and they're also operating the dispatch board. Obviously, when you go to somebody with all that, they're like, oh my God, that's wild because I'm not doing any of that. If you had to like pick a hierarchy of highest leverage things, going back to what you just said, where do you see out of all the things that Revin can do, that AI can do, where do you feel or where do you see is like the highest leverage quick win for somebody out there of like, I'm going to start doing this because it produces X result?
I love it. Yeah, I would say the three workflows that I was running Quinn's HVAC and plumbing here in New York. I would focus on how many lost opportunities do I have after hours? I've been meaning to try and put some kind of case study together of just like what the wider home services industry loses on after hours opportunities that are just not captured in time. And so number one, I would take a good long look at your after hours process. How many opportunities do you lose? Multiply that by your average ticket price, and I think the vast majority of entrepreneurs listening to this call right now, their jaw would hit the floor. So look at after hours, start optimizing that, figure out ways to capture those opportunities as quickly as possible. Two is going after unsold estimates and unsold bids. Again, it's so simple. You've already done all the work, and then a lot of business owners are just sitting on that relationship. You might not want to badger someone too much. You don't want to be too pushy. You want to let them take time, but then you forget about it because you're running a business. You got a million things going on, and so going after and having some form of automation that is really tackling those unsold estimates and really making sure that you are not having any leakage in your potential revenue is second. And then lastly, it's thinking through new channels for your customers to engage with you. Whether that's having something as simple as just a text to book button on your website where someone can have a number that they can go and text if they don't want to get on the phone with you. Maybe they're dropping their kids off at school and they can't get on the phone, or they're getting into a car so they can fire off a text message, but they can't get on their cell phone. So having new channels on your website or implementing something like a chat widget or an SMS widget, which is essentially just, and I'm sure folks have seen them, where you're just enabling your customers to input their phone number so then they're getting an automated text so they can go and schedule over SMS. It's just unlocking new channels for your customers to interact with you. Because as the consumer, like the wider consumer is changing, right? The consumer is getting younger and younger every year. You want to make sure that you're meeting their expectations. And I'm sure everyone listening right now, the one thing that is either in your hand or the closest to you is your phone. And so being able to connect with your customers over SMS and with the thing that they are looking at every single day is just one of the strongest and most strategic growth levers you can have this year.
Love it. That's awesome, Quinn. So for those of you guys keeping track at home, the top three things Quinn and Revin team recommends: after hours revenue loss. I 100% agree with that. And I would even say the next level, like the average ticket of an after hours call is definitely even higher than your normal average ticket. So have something in
Good
place
point.
to capture all those leads, because that's when a lot of stuff breaks. It doesn't break from 9 to 5 because a lot of people are at work and they're not doing things. It's going to break after hours, it's going to break on the weekends. Unsold estimates is huge. Like you said, Quinn, a lot of times we're just always on to the next one. Close the iPad,
Yeah.
onto the next one. And
Yeah.
a lot of times customers aren't ignoring us because they don't want to do work with us. They just got busy too. So we can follow up with them like, hey, Quinn, do you have a chance to, talk to your wife with that estimate? And they're like, oh, thank you so much for reminding me. Yep, we're going to sign off now. And then new channels. It was funny when you were talking about kind of how the next generation is coming in and they want to text. It's 2015. The iPhone has been out for 18 years. So people have really started to become addicted to the phone 18 years ago. That means if you were 21 back then, now you're 40, and you probably rather text than call somebody. So that's awesome, actionable advice, Quinn. Really appreciate that. So one of the other things that I've seen you talk about on social, I've seen Revin put out there is the third party leads. And I know
Mhm.
plenty of people have very strong opinions on both sides of third party leads. They're terrible. They're great. I hate them. They're amazing. What have you guys seen in that space? What have what are your kind of best practices when implementing Revin with third party lead sources and stuff like that?
This is definitely a hot topic. It's been even in 2025, it's been a tumultuous year already, and it's only March, especially with the one-to-one legislation that we thought was going to happen at the beginning of this year, and then it got pulled back. And so my perspective has always been number one, with any affiliate or lead aggregator that you're paying for, and it doesn't matter if you're paying $35 for it, or like in some of our roofing businesses are paying $500 for those leads. It's speed to lead is how you win or how you die. If you don't have speed to lead on your lead aggregators or your third party lead channels, why are you spending so much money on those opportunities? You would be, and Paul, I'm sure out of most folks, you have the numbers to prove it. The it's insane when we sit down with some businesses how many dollars a year that they are essentially just lighting on fire because they are putting so much into so many different third party lead channels. But then those leads, the second that they hit their ecosystem, they either in most cases just being funneled into their system of record or their field service management tool. They're just sitting there for, in some cases, 15 minutes, in some cases 2 to 3 days. And again, going back to what I said earlier, you have 10 to 15 seconds. For a third party lead, you probably have 5 seconds because those are not one-to-one leads. Multiple other businesses are paying for the same lead. And so that means that it is really just first to that customer, and not only just the first message. Because again, a lot of field service management tools do have automated initial message sending capabilities, but it's the ability to, the second that that customer responds, the second that you fire out that message, hey, Paul, saw this lead, saw your opportunity come in from Angie's, would love to get you scheduled. Can you tell me more about the issue you're experiencing? And the customer goes, hey, Paul, thanks for reaching out. Yes, here it is. I'm having a plumbing issue. And then you ghost them. You ghost them for 3, 4 hours because that was an automated message and your call center is doing something else. That's how you've now lost a customer for life because they're like, okay, why would I work with Paul? He's not responding to me. And then B, you're just unnecessary spending money and seeing no ROI. And so it's having the ability to automatically schedule and either set if you're a set if you're a home improvement business, or book if you're an HVAC and roofing business, as quickly as possible in that 15 to 20-second range that I've given you. Because if you don't, somebody else will. And so I'm so glad you brought this up, Paul, because as you can tell, we are very opinionated here at Revin. If you are spending dollars, if you're spending money, your hard-earned money on third-party leads, implement some form of speed to lead, in some form of automation. Again, of course, I'm biased. This is what we do at Revin, but there's a multitude of tools out there that can help you do this. And even if it's just use what you can out of the box with your CRM, having some form of speed to lead on those affiliate opportunities is so critical. And the businesses that are going to win in 2025 and 2026 are the ones that are really building out a process and a system around how do we have the highest ROI per lead that we're paying for, because it can be a big drain on your business if you don't have that system set up.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true because when people go on to those sites, consumers, that's what they're expecting, right? That's what Angie or home, like that's what they're telling you. This is what's going to happen next. So it's like whoever reaches out to you first, if you can engage in a conversation, you're going to be the first person out there. And if like to your point, if it takes you more than 15 seconds, you're probably not gonna get that deal, and then you get really opinionated one way or the other. So that's really good insight, really good advice for everybody out there. As we start to wrap this up, Quinn, I'm just curious on, obviously you guys have a big vision at Revin. I'm curious on, like, where do you see, obviously at the beginning you said, 10 to $20 million company running by two people and the rest is going to be AI agents. When do you see that coming to fruition? Like, what are the next big things on the horizon in the AI home services, world?
Such a good question. I think number one is you're going to see your team, if you implement automation properly and with the right partner. And again, I know I'm going off topic here for a second, but the one call out I will make is, and it's more of a warning, is automation is great if you set it up properly and if you have the right partners. A big thing that we do at Revin, and even for companies that choose not to work with us, this is our advice for them, is find the right partner that's going to go in and make sure that things are set up that are custom to your business. They understand your standard operating procedures. They understand how you are using your system of record, because everyone uses their system of record slightly differently. And so it is critical that you find the right partner that's going to set up this automation in a way that works specifically for your business. And the thing that hurts me the most is when I see companies that, or when I see entrepreneurs that go out and buy an annual contract for some form of automation tool for their business, thinking it's going to solve all their problems. And then they're spending so many hours, days, and weeks, and in some cases months, setting it up. For us, like we provide a white glove, red carpet experience for our customers, where we are going in and setting things up for your customers or for our customers. And so that's just my warning of I 100% believe that you should be thinking about implementing automation into your business in 2025. But again, it's okay to be skeptical. It's a new technology. Go out there and ask the right questions and find the partner that's going to invest their time in you, understand your business, and build and implement these tools in a way that works for how you want your business to run and how your business is running. And so that's just my one call out of, don't spend your time designing and building and training AI agents. Find a partner that's going to help you do that either automatically or hand in hand with you. And then, Paul, to your point around what are the big things that are going to change right before our eyes, even this year? For the businesses that do implement this technology properly, you're going to see a 3 to 4x increase in output with the vast majority of employees that you have, even the techs in the field. There's a ton of really cool technology that's being implemented for the technicians to make sure that their first call completion rate is as high as possible, and really giving them the tools so they're not calling back, speaking to their technician manager. They're able to answer questions automatically in the field, all the way to the work we're doing in the marketing, sales, and call center stack. And so I don't think there's any better time to be running a home service or home improvement business, because you're going to start seeing insane output from your employees if you build automation and implement automation properly around them, so they can be, as we call it, you're giving them superpowers. You're going to make a superhero out of every single one of your employees with the right automation tools. And then from there, again, it's only going to get better. Like, we are at the tip of the iceberg in the capabilities of this automation. And it's just so cool to start thinking about where this can go and how it can further improve your business. And we're just excited to be along for the ride and be working with some of the amazing businesses that we work with that are trying to be innovators, and that they are essentially pioneering this next phase of the trades and home services and home improvement. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see across every aspect of these businesses as automation makes more and more of an impact in increasing that leverage. So for the short term, we're going to just see more output on a per employee basis. And then from there, as the technology improves, I think you're going to start seeing the automation own more end-to-end workflows. And again, I'm not saying that I'm not saying this at all, that you should go in and let anyone go because of automation. I'm saying that you're going to be able to grow your business 3, 4, 5x with the exact same headcount. And that's the thing that excites us the most, is that we can come in and work with a team that's doing 30 million a year. And we're going to say, listen, we're going to help you get you to 50 million with the exact same headcount today. And for me, that's what fires us up. That's what makes us get out of the bed in the morning. And we're just excited to make a small impact on this space.
Awesome. Love it. That's super impressive, Quinn. So as we put a bow on this thing and finish up this conversation, I want you to give our listeners one thing that they could do within the next 24 hours just to start to, if they've never done anything, get their toes in the water, or if they've got their toes in the water. What's one thing anybody out there can do within the next 24 hours to start to move their business forward in this space?
I would say go book a demo with an AI tool that's focused on home services or the trades. I'm happy to provide my email on this. So if anyone wants to shoot me an email, and I'm happy to send them a list of almost per category of your business, some of the tools that I would say go and look at, whether it's on the dispatching side, whether it's on, again, the accounts payable side, the marketing side, the sales side, the technician side. But just go book a demo, just see what's going on out there and just start getting your feet wet, because the work and research you do now, you're paying down that equity for the changes you're going to make in Q3, Q4. So start now so you can implement those things this year. Because if you wait, it's going to be a 2027 thing. So start now, get some demos under your belt, and just start learning about how you can leverage up your business.
There you all have it. One of my favorite sayings is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is today. Take Quinn's advice and just go book a demo. Quinn from Revin, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your journey, and providing a ton of actionable advice, insight, and wisdom for all the blue collar business owners out there as we continue on this journey to prosperity. But before we sign off, Quinn, where can our listeners go to keep in touch with you? I know you mentioned you'll give out your email. If that's the best place, fire away.
Yep. So best place to find us is Revin.ai. So Revin.ai. And then you can reach out to me anytime, anywhere at Quinn@Revin.ai. So it's Quinn at Revin.ai. It's ironic, I should be giving everyone my phone number, but if you email me, I will then give you my phone number and then we can text and we can do it there. But yeah, that's the best place to find us.
Awesome. There you guys have it. Quinn with two N's, Quinn at Revin, Revin.ai. Quinn, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul. You're the best.
And before we go, as you know, there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to creating consistent positive cash flow. However, the journey starts with making sure you are priced right so you can have a growing and more profitable business. I've created a super easy to use pricing calculator for everyone in the trades. You will no longer have to guess what you should charge. You'll no longer have to call around your competition and see what they charge. This calculator is easy to use and will provide you confidence and clarity that you're actually priced right. It also comes with a step-by-step PDF guide and a video walkthrough. So head on over to thebluecollaradvisors.com/price. thebluecollaradvisors.com/price to download it today, and so you can start implementing it tomorrow. Until next time, remember, what got you here won't get you there. If you are ready for different results, it's time to start doing things differently.